nyina unhunu bio high sense men kan so watete so niam na nyina abo no eda fom se tim se anyuma kwakutemu na nwumere kase ye de ebrem na yen kenka kase ammo atie bio no ye me obri yaboa fantam from mene
bafo redu amo
yenye brana kase ne monwuram se tiefo beka ya besa busumi nie na adedenkpo won kramantam ha akramfo ete afide titafo so koto hye ka mumrunto edi sika gu bi bulovan tututu ogu mu ma wi ase posi ni ba kohwere ne nkwa na maame bi otene ba bie etu ekokan no maame Joyce amankwa asame kase wato na nom se do na ne kunu ene wo kase gamali apau wose abusua no sa brede wonum asa papa efiri se sa ha ne bodefo sabe siye empanimfo abene nam ho behwe hwa na nko hwese bia nka ban panimfo bi mpo ebeba ho ba ba chia maame Joyce amankwa niwura eye opani gamali apau ene nkwada aka enso hwe buada pani bia nsio wadi ya papa na ni nyina ne se ko bia wato ndi se Ghana Advocacy Group Diaspora Organization ene aim Ghana wonum ye se busuan o ahuhiem ti obepani makakra kwa akwache wonum na wonum duru ya na opani gamali se mame fantom anim free so ba free mu no efia habo efia hadampan bibia ni ha ye dini ye nyoma kase tu afie mu ko sanse oba tampono ne kutekuta busua yi mu to free ha ide nyoma nyina sei na rehosam ne se oja nkwada nketo a mina mensa ne nam kwada yi hu a wonu suku kurom ni ade akwakoya asem kase na mesre empanimfo sa mo hwa posi ni tuo kan na mo hwe no de a ene maame amankwaro te ba bi tuo kan no oja na mahonti momwa ne manu hwem se de be ya nkwada no womsuku kurom ene sikasemu sanse eba se abusua po wonom to mbehia moa e de afiri mpani ho
omususa awoso mu mini du bebi awoso mu du ohwe mi gina hunse mani sofi nti aba no nhwe ne wo se oye na wonye aba no nhwe ne wo se wo ye sabi onipa bi a wo conscious indudent o se said yanke to wo be pese be ya ma wono osu yesa ma wuni ano highly disappointed then so no e dancer boy anti said ya wahwere no my disappointed in the government. One, I was also disappointed was a financial institution na yedine sike twem ati ase basically intimate treason. My disappointed in the police as well. Na mrepamuno bihundi ebe. Justice in all aspects. The famra kwanso, the fa ankura no yiyum oja mami wachiri. The fa ni mami hwem. Also mutimi kwakore sa ade no. Na owo ho no so no apart from say me no ye wo ho ehwe ye ma no. Ebinim si depend on so one or two ebi eno so na sa ban timi hwe. In fact, ade si edinya papa. So yo wa behwe. Obia be kan do kuma so pese obo abia no. Ye beda na se.
Opani gamali apau ne yire ene maame Joyce amankwa tuo kan no adedempo a wafiri mu na otese o kasane na opani ono so kasama maame amankwa busua eye osofo Emmanuel Owusu na wono so kirechire mu bra obepe maame Joyce amankwa akorabre
kra yeguso yeguntoto yaso nyankopon yadom a 24th of this month Saturday week and I be kopene korabre nti abusua egu entoto yaso se ye be kra yenu enachi krakra aye no ye be ye wo kra central old UTC agbado UTC o ana ofa ode kokolebo a traffic light before kolebo traffic light no road bi o wa say one way from post office I join Kalibu Road no. At Rencham say I then akoto ye wanyu onye obi oto ne kon ene wuye otene shop oto ma de obi to ade kra okoyi ade abre oni kro at Rencham we akoto nti adesra me de ni gina busuana nam di ato aban nanim ne se oti ase ankonim de we obetoto ne niema na se de medical kan oja ankwala miensa e wachiri eto da ba ne se ya abafoforo de enipa betu obi kra di national no be ya ma ne ma no but enkrani be ka se wuchi bedu ochina no ko di akwala ne kra onye obi mpo no wa den waboa no ti bi de ma desra me de to aban nanim ne se aban ntimi muwa yensa
Osofo Emmanuel Owusu wono ne kasamafo mama me Joyce amankwa busua ne na ate na Gladys Maini wono ne panimpa oda Ghana no echire mu die ntia wono msesa ye de boboa ni nyina no so de koche mama amankwa da busua ne yire ene ne mma se de be ya wono so benya bibie apodwe sei ene o chire mu
Ghana for makotena abrochi no mo dwen oman ne ho no omo se sade a bibi kakrom beti no mbe ya abo ankola no nanso omo se Ghana for ina se ese eda wonyanko ani a na wabo no because e bi eto wani a so behia se obi mboa enti no ade ato ye papa ani ye na ye mboa se ebi so nkola ne da achi nti na ye gina ha no mende sansa nkola ne susu apeni ne kra wo 11 years omo susu o se nka nkola bi se ne timi mo good education ye mo asetena papa emma yawa ewom se wo maame afimu na betina omumu akwachi na nka yetimi emmo proper education enunti na Ghana Advocacy Group omo United States any aim Ghana Foundation ye ba ese ye ba behwe omo asetena ne ya hwe se ye benya mboa e de aboa enkola no omo da chinti ti anu de ye plan se ye bebie education fund ama enkola no enti no ye guso ye ho adwuma se ye wi a ye de account ne betudwa se ne be ye obi owo mboa bi o de ma enkola no o de betum enen so ye de mu kakra enyama nketenkete bi ebrom na eye ni sudu nso a ye besan so aba na emwa bi a ho bi de ba besu abusua ni mu na omo de akra ye mame achi kura
Ababawa Gladys Baini penimpa oda em Ghana no nene ena ote ye no
ya fa ya ni enkyere atoi mantam krokuma be fra hono set kobo ara ho sema ye de ba betu dwa suku ni abayo akra emfie dumiensa abusua ene omanfo ete agya omufie edum bi epem bi dia yete ya ne se ye nanna ye bayi wase no akofu ya ma protofo behwe ya ene emunu wafa ede akwakoto amukura bia wo hwe ayemu ahwehwemu na sebi na abusua ene ne mpanifo ne na bata na wofo ekyere se wodwene ho a wonte ase da biada wontire ho a wonte ase kura se abofra ketwa ese yi ebetuma se ne ho homa saa no akasa wasam a waka ne se wonto afitire mu na hu se da bi onana no onyo no na adi ne ho awu eye wono abayo yi ne na bema eja avo na wakire mu ese de wahwe ene de wahu ewo wono nana no bra tam de si no wa reach dwene ho ba bi a wonte ase na nya de a wonana no betimi adi ne ho awusa ne mo wase wono reach mu nyina de wo de ama protifo efisa protifo abo ano ba adi nsi akase wo be yehwehwe mu fi ama wahu de atwam na won stress on mo say wo beboa ama hwehwe mu a waye no soso no atumi awie pen no wahu de kode a enam so ema wonana won bayi ahwere ne nkwa ya sa
Bekasi ni fin se enye makoda no na ono awo hye ne wafo eye ewudifo na edi ni se ene ye de ne ba betum paso no anka omo se omo betra ne fom omo asiesie no de na table no so se ne wo twro na so no omo ye ane kon no wanyina so ayese nipa bi ane kon no ye bu no nti ne kon no omo aye bia se omo be ye na omo nya no na omo asiesie no pa na ono na nya kufo no omo di no ago efe ne kon no die wo kana na to se wo ye na to nipa wo free school abeto de ani ya bo break over okwa ho ne ho a ono ntumi no yetumi ye ne sa na nipa ye be che na akofo no ana se ne nan ka fom no anko be prepare ho even akokompa ya akofo ucha ne mene a se ne wo pre nipa da se ni a ode ahoma no ko ade ahoma se ne ko wanye se bia che se wa pre na omu yi ne pint no enya jana bia wo na se ne ye twa ahoma ni mu no tekrema no echem nipa so be che no akofo wo pre no tekrama echi eba ena we wani ne so no etitu obia hu se when ani kosie ye wo nya ketwa ososo nti CID fo no omo che se efiche na ne ye de na ko asie de efiche no ko omo so be yisu pa
eja avo abayo a wadi mfedu miensa wache so ase no ho akonfo ya ena ne na bema eka arehosem yi akere omanfo
opani wakire mpomudine said ye be ya obetimi asakwabra ne yade ho eno owo senior lecturer University of Ghana Medical School wono a eno sanda intensive care unit anu okolebu abaya asabia Dr. Christian owu ade atudwa se no kore mframa odasani sare yade mu yedena wo home ye ma yede ma no oxygen no ho yede okolebu ani ayasabia kese o mayi mu senti ni se COVID-19 yade no yatoto ye ho adansa ma sabira agibum ekọ na nimu peja ne mu na ni nyina ka ho bi na sabre akwakofa sa hawe yaba wose sa hwese de ete no a ye wo yade bi so wo aka nipa bi a wo mo tibi wo mu de na mo so hia mframa yade ma wo mo nkerim so wo mo na je besi wo no so ewi ase a covid ne peja ne mu bumba nti ama sabre ho yade papa ti so obi ti ho na se nipa no wa mo ne bra yie na wo didi agro na covid so ne du se ma ne mframa ne de ne ba ebi ni ho nti ahwɛ adeɛ bɛteɛ no ɛnyɛ asɛmpa.
Oxygen ecosystem has always been a difficult one for the health sector in every country. We know as for a fact that the oxygen capacity of basically not only low middle income countries such as ours, but even in other middle income countries and developed countries have been challenged by this pandemic. So it was not adequate previously. We all know that. I mean, so it's not a new thing. But anytime there is a surge, that shortage is going to become even more significant because it is not only COVID-19 patients who are requiring oxygen. There are a lot of other patients, both respiratory disease patients and other critically ill patients who are requiring oxygen in our hospitals. And until we have an exceptionally high increase in the oxygen ecosystem, this will continue to be challenged. So yes, there are challenges in oxygen supply and requirement that were there. This has been exacerbated by the increasing numbers. But it does not mean that there are no oxygen available.
Doctor, oh, twas on the Kasem, Abrana Ghana Medical Association, Penny Diabetu Jase, Yadiano, Oman Human Swama, and Framano, or Yadiano, watches, no cre. Na a high juniper, say, Ecosa, was say, Yadino Diagro, pa, and you will see a boy a homo didn't say. And she shall do I idea to one for COVID-19. We best quack for Sanko Fayenchi, near the Nina so. Anyasa said the idea no ese pejabano. And you how bebre may.
We must be worried. I mean, the pandemic is not over. I'm surprised if anybody in the health sector and for those who decided that at any point in time that we should not worry, because I mean, we are not alone in this. The pandemic is not gone. Anytime there is a surge, we've seen two stages already in the first wave last year and the second wave from December to end of March this year, and we saw what the consequences of that is. So anytime there's going to be a surge, there's going to be life loss. That is why we have said that it is important to have all the strategies on board to make sure that we reduce the spread of the disease and the importation of new variants, as well as making sure that physically and socially we are not adhering to increase the spread. And then, of course, the hand hygiene and the wearing of our masks are very important, as well as the role of our having said,
Doctor Christian wano any penimpa Ghana Oda intensive care unit Okolibuano science senior lecturer University of Ghana Medical School nene na ate yere na Doctor Patrick Kumabwaje wano ne penimpa pomdene adwumaku a wo mayi mu no woda wonoma no ena wode atodwa abu nkonta foforo de abatodwa sese ye kase yo mayi nipa COVID-19 wanya bia ne mpimienu ahanum ni dumienu 2512 womu afri mu ye ha nwatwini nsia 606 nkramantamu ni kumase a chese ho ena sabre yade rododo na akogina osan de tudwa sese de esi man homene so no akwa se wiemhya gina bia nso omanfo no ba oso bi banti ho de se wahye ne omanyina yi aduru ana chese yade ofa mu na manfo nso eba ye so moja hwe hu se omo eba no wode bi ba pa tie mom kwa omuram wasi sabre ope yade ne de gina na so pa a chese watwera wo mo a eba ye fra brochiri ba ye so moja mu no besa pem ahankro ne aduokron so 1997 ni nyina a chese dodo no ho ne free ba a chese wo so ye mema ti na chese ade no san so mema no mu den.
As at the 11th of July, we've had about 98,114 cases with 94,700 plus recoveries. We've tested more than 1.3 million people. As we speak now on our dashboard, we have 2,512 active cases. And as you understand, that is the number of people who are currently carrying the virus, with overall positivity rate of 7.3%. We've had a death of about 806. The last time I was here, the death was about 799 thereabouts. So we've had about 6 more since the last time we updated the data. just a summary to just show you that we still is a Greater Accra and Ashanti region is where we have most of the cases. The next EpiCap, which I'm sure we are now, our journalists are all getting used to understand. You can see that in the last few days, there's a slight increase in the number of cases. We are hoping that this we are able to control this by adhering to the protocols and bring it down. You can see that we have also been seeing some slight increase in the report at the airport. The last time we were here, we explained to you that we have an outbreak in the sub-region in other countries and in most of Africa. About 50% at the time of all the positive at the airport came from two countries, Sierra Leone and Liberia, and we mentioned them so that we are all cautious. So far in July, we have reported 100 cases compared to 144 in the whole of June. We are still not in the middle of July yet, so the projection is that they are likely to report more cases than we reported last month. But that also tells you that is sensitive to the changes around you. And so as they have spikes around you, you also see that more cases are picked at the airport.
Dr. Patrick Kumabuaji, one and a Ghana Health Service wadano nene and out here.
After ni entre kwadwuma emu afimpi mienu ni edunan opani aye bono ekwiafo ehema ewo man mu owura George Asamoah Amankwa eno de adesere eto abanim se fele ta ho nsensem a ekofam no aban no hwe no onya bibi wo ho o se ya akwa se de sikasem bi ehun nsem asori wo mu no na hwemu a aban ba ye no mfie no pepepe nie eno de sise bi friend say planting for food and jobs e ba ya abua papa ama afi atwam na aduan de ene ebu pa ene ebu aduan ebu ye brode banche manken dudu na aja ebu ama ekom no yante no papa nanso afi yi no ayese de enema ekofam na ni nyina no ne se wodo ani atofam ahu se fertilizer ehun sensem no sikasem bi wo ma ban enye na sade che ni santu ne abro bag ba kokotoko kase pa no ba ko no ye to no cedi 500 Ghana cedis na sa ban anhwe no want to say ne mani ye anyi sa ha na free hon dia enye nwanwa se ye koye no aduan ho ebeye den e wo man mu
9 p.m. They practicing for food here, man. I dance through say Piani Aba Ama. They say it will be called Amanone Crack of Stone. So we have to say, in your probably and so. Eko de wie ni na eburo no so ate ama sisi amino kase eburo ayudua na frasa kase abri e be yusu no eburo no dodo no abako ama eburo bag ya e wure mu ye 160 kg ni 170 kg wure mu no sisi e 25 million e be see that kase abri nke eburo bo akoso kra no 200 or 250 Ghana e won ta se ahodo be yensa ene wo memu ha obo mo mpo na no ene e wo mari mfifi ene islimu mantem that's senior saying emu bia so ye ya say ebe here say the transaction ebe asase no na atiya boama fudie na tiya paye nti so be hwa afibia ebi champon ble so sa operation fika se body na no ye de traza eboa imfumu imedie no ma ye number any timi ba do mai nti eye nana aban ba yi na omo so I say, oh my, on one being now with me, and Van now we pay, and no sooner more far, planting for food by.
Ora George Asamoah Amankwa ye 2014 national best farmer ene ne achi ye no wie no amanso ho no mana watchem se so watimi aka o hawa hodo a ema wenu nyina ba ne na abrobuo akoso sa ne nuane ahodo nso ebu akoso na ne ma bi ho no mesese aban ene asoye hwe esikasam so no woye ni nyina no ene se nwakwa ahodo bi ho no ma wode fertilizers ni ebibre on nso aban entwi a won moka enti eka de osun bi pa enti se be ye obenya sika bio akwakoto fertilizer no de abrakwiafo ama de ya adwuma na de adua won mo emfudie no ayedin papa ma ho enti aban emomodin se wobehwe na eka biara akokokam no betua na akuafo nso so anya bidia ya adwuma na ba no sa na tese adwuma yo asetra na etre emrantie ene mabunu ebenya adwuma ayo
yɛne akuafoɔ no yɛka sɛ sɛ nneɛma yɛ fɛtase afrasɛ no koraa mpo na abuo no saa bere ne boɔ kɔ so a akɔba sɛ de aban hwɛ ɛyɛ adwuma a yɛde maayɛ no so ɔntimi mfiri a nnipa no a wɔde berɛ akuafoɔ no kaa ɛkyerɛ sɛ yɛnya obi ansa mfa nsɔpɔto yɛ ho akuo yi a ɛkyerɛ sɛ afeda no ɛkɔm bɛba na ma timupɔ a ɛne anisoade hu na yɛde planting for food baeɛ no ɛnwie pɛyɛ na ɛno na yɛsrɛ aban sɛ sɛ ɔfisa bi ɛna ayɛ hann a yɛ sɛ ɔsan nkrataa bi ma yɛ ne nsa nipakorɔ no ka sika no kɔ so ama yɛ bɛtraza no a yɛsrɛ aban nkanka finance ministry sɛ ɔmutua na mɔ sɛ fata na ɔmo ne sɔpraya no ɛnsi nkonnwa sɛ ɛbɛyɛ koraa obiara nim sɛ economy no seesei mu ayɛ den nti sɛ sika koraa na aban yi saa ɔde bɛma na ɔde ne si nkonnwa bɛtumi akɔ so ama ɔno nso de ma ne bank ɔmo nya kwan asɔpraya sɛ bɛyɛ na aduane ho nkɔ atwee wɔ Ghana mu ɛma afei yɛ mfɛfɛ buru anaa ɛmoa.
Owura George Asamoah Mankwa 2014 National Best Farmer ɛne ɛtiye.
Aha Adom 106.3 FM so nwene Naket Kasiebo Naket ɛne yɛde ɛbrɛ wana sentiment mu nhyira 104.5 affiliated yoso ɛne bi san ba bɛka ho a ɔmayi mu amanone obi agere de ato apete Facebook ɛne yɛnie YouTube ɛne yɛnie Adom online so yɛ stream din na wadwen kyerɛ bra Facebook fa bɛto yɛbɛkenka ne nyinaa bia ma na wo share wo like na wo share sɛ da bɛyɛ wo nua bia ɔno so ba bibia no ne nsa bɛka bia ne mfoni nso yɛbɛyi bi we yɛ video of the day yɛbɛyi ama mo ahwɛ na yɛkɔ yanim wode wani kyerɛ ɔman mra hyɛ badwa fie a mra hyɛ badwa nim ɔmanfo a wɔnom wɔ tamale atifi Alhassan Suini ɛde krata akɔma akyiamehena wɔ fie hɔ onimonyamfo abansman na gbagben sɛ asen mfimfi brashe bedwani kennedy akompre ko Japan waka nsɛm bi a ɛnsɛm fatanti wɔntwe no ɛmfa no magina mpani anim no oni nasɛm ne nyinaa nso wakɔ akɔbɔ multimedia yɛnso ntwerɛni Joy FM ne Love FM ɛrasa saredon kontrene na no ɛna pani ti asɛm ya no se dabi ɔntimi ntena to so saa nhwɛ masɛm yi ɛnkokwa nti ɔde akɔ akɔma speaker ama saa bra meka sɛ speaker nso agye atum sɛ mpani nsi nkonwa na asɛm no wɔnhwɛm yentie die ɛkɔ so na ne eduru saa bra no nso kyɛ sɛ akɔ akɔyɛ sɛ apɔtwe kakra ɛkɔ so na yentie.
The House's attention is drawn to the motion relating to contempt of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I rise on this motion to pray you to exercise your powers under Orders 27. Mr. Speaker, my basis is on the conduct of the said member on his own television network, which has caused another network, Joy FM, to refer him to the CID for investigation. Mr. Speaker, the letter from Multimedia to the CID quotes what he said on his show. Mr. Speaker, I also have a copy of the said program as attached to the petition sent to the CID. And this letter by Multimedia is dated July 13, 2021, where he is copiously referred to as the chairman of the Committee of Defense and Interior. And Mr. Speaker, for those utterances to be attributed to the committee chairman of this House, Mr. Speaker, I think it calls for the attention of this House, for the chairman of the Committee of Defense and Interior to go public and urge that the president, the commander-in-chief, beats people, physically assaults people. He says, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, that if he were the president of Ghana, he would have ensured that the said journalist, Erastus Asaridonko, is beaten mercilessly. Mr. Speaker, he says that in fact, Erastus Asaridonko should be beaten seriously. And Mr. Speaker, this comes in the wake of another such utterances he made in relation to Ahmed Swale, which led, in the view of some people, to the identity of Ahmed Swale being compromised and eventually murdered. Mr. Speaker, I think that as a former journalist, I feel obliged, Mr. Speaker, to draw the House's attention to this conduct of an honorable colleague of this House, which in my view, brings this House into disrepute. And so, Mr. Speaker, I urge you to exercise your powers under 27 and refer this conduct of the honorable member, which is becoming unacceptable, to the Privileges Committee to ascertain the veracity of the comments that were made and recommend sanctions, if possible, that will act as...
Alhassan Suhini, wano ya mnashebe jwani ema omanfo mota maleno ofrene na atiye na achiamehene opani Abansmana Kingsford Bagbin eno wasi asabana watini nyina nkrata odi abana wati enye odi koma bedwakuo no wo monsi nkonwa na wo mo ankonko tie nsem no mu yie no mu hwem se bibi wo mu a wo mbetena se na fe ho gina bi wo ho a wonom asi.
The House's attention is drawn to the conduct of one of our members, and under Order 27, which I want to quote in extenso, it says, notwithstanding anything contained in this order, Mr. Speaker may refer any questions of privilege to the Committee of Privileges for examination, investigation, and report. Notwithstanding anything contained in these orders. In spite of the word notwithstanding, the Speaker is giving the discretion, says may refer any questions of privilege. I think that is why the honorable member is seeking my intervention to refer the matter to the Privileges Committee.
Onimonyamfo Aban Bagben wono ni achiamehene mamra chebedwafie nene enawtiye no.
Ya kwa ya nimu a opani wabiri ye papa e onwumasua ne sukuu ko ensemu na nanse obehwe social media obehwe ne sukuu fo e wo SHS na ne video ni atwa ne ya de ato ho no ne ye kan sem bebre dwuma odi ebinumu ayu am ntade am mpabu ebinumu am nanso eno ne ade na no ne ebisa se enkwada yesimo am mfa phone nko sukuu ne tia onya phone wen na wodidi sa dwuma no na no na ora opon Daniel wo ye educationist edi etudwa no kyerkyeremo ekira Adom kase ese de akoso no de ahomte ya awreho papa pasa nkoda ye do akosuku so nkosu ade na behwe mayu ne mamu wa kabomu yu no atwa bibi no de ato social media so a ensem fata sabita fret ensem bi wo ha wo bete kura na ye asefem na nasem a waka no ani se empanifo hwe no fo nansi fem obia mfa ne nansi fem na koda biara wobewia no ho ede mobile phone ade dwuma school emposo obepia bonten ade mobile phone akwakoye bibi na ebepia bonten ya sere no dia yehwe ema emrani nini na emrani dia ya pam no school free every school mo akora enye hwe
yes ema kwan se enkura mfa mobile phone enko school tenkura na ede ko no amu wi am ho na ede ko konti it will lie on awofo so mbe tu omumano fo yi se mom from phones and could be phone about funny yes your much who saw the phone about we den into a worrying situation and now more the use of phone in schools no there to me I think that it should be automatically banned so you say about the phone about school you should be dismissed because they are using the phone negatively. They will not way around who know the picture. They will not way entertainment and who here no more they sa. And so phone there now no a library has been brought nearer to our doorstep. I can bit mediation idea.
Ora upon Daniel Netin nkan wa manso ha osane to aso bio e de ade srede afutuo ma ban ne suku mpanimfo se bre ya ba ne sei no aya ne ya makwansa sukufo no wonfa mobile phones no ensua de ne bibi no hwehwe research no ne ade no de aya o se dabi ensa fata enkafra kra ebehia se suku mpanimfo ne aban behwe na nkoda ya mon computers laptops no ne ade tablets ene ade nyina na won research wode aya chance ya de mobile phones no be mon ne ya mon mu kwanso mfanya dwuma fi se no ne makwan e ma wode di dwuma bia ense emfata no
computer laboratory ne iPad ne other gadgets am for solution be boa no school now making provisions for ma ICT teacher bia mekase amofra no from mra na omofanye research and omofra issue they know that thing should be discarded, that thing should be banned. Now we make good use of computer kakra we school ho no until that's how it's supposed to na ya educate your man about the good use of phones and good morals in society. So be ya that be no there will be good citizens in Ghana.
Upon Daniel and I yatini kai na enwachi no ne yebopini eye National Secretary Parent Teacher Association of Ghana Nana ahwere okanto bin enso ye ni di nkomo no chem se nkoda wotwetwa mfoni anasa videos wode mobile phones eje videos no de egu social media yi entade papa ye honom ne ade ni nyina ensem fata ye papa na ahwere ho enti esese ye koso esoso sansem no eso
yeah, mobile phone dear. In fact, years in Bemuno, Mufano Yama Obia Quanse on mobile phone in school. Now, Mufano, if we are Quarabonipa, if we are Quarabonipa, honestly speaking, and yet it did not be teachers for the PTA Punopo as a Pia for the woman who will be with a mobile phone in Pa. Woman sees this a beer, our phone Shada Ako school, Bia Kita who dear Muno, the Bia Wako school, now the mobile phone Nakoma, Bia headmistress and as a headmaster, say Bia Obano, a Bia. Emergency be is wrong. Then when you say be obano no obe use mobile phone daddy and when you say and ya the papa mobile who say mobile phone be a very sophisticated one who need baby a mobile phone you can on the door and mobile phone concentration you are going to try to go school you are upon our mobile phone so the phone is very vigilant you say I'm going to go school the bad you idea you know what say be a mobile phone shimana as a social media bona school for no more
PTA National Chairman Nana ahwere okanto be ene etie
mo aye adwuma wo mayi mu se adwuma kese anase nkuma mo bie ya na nkrato ene ye samo frɛ obi anase mo WhatsApp ne ya mobɔ kapa eno nti MTN si wo hu mobɔ saa karoma mo bio wa hyeda ye package kama betima kasa say SMS data je opese odi ye bia se obandana de your business no wa hyeda ye ne kama de amount u ba ye de ma wo ane obekasa kanka bia onye saa hye ya obebɔ no wo mo ne saa je hia ne se ene edem saa juade bia no pa no so ko panwumre nunum oni obekasa saa te se bo se wonya free simple you obeye ni obedal star 5060 hash star 50 60 hash nti ebekire update ama kama na wasign up ene ya senso china na baba ene ya na ne edem ene bibia e kama manti mesra mom ya moboka credit ho pa nti mamom fa ni agro we momfa ho nyim na mo amo na e ka no mra fom mesra wase me so opemu dodo no atia oba frɛ 0244 30 81 11 mo awie no na afa mu apa generator ne plant na mo de ayemu adwuma sanse kane de timbo na ni brebia e ba sa ya na eboa mo a se nam na mo se coast store na wo ya nam no begine mu a nyunu mu a che na boa dwuma bia wo ye bia be hia na mahodene no se kane ankasa o mai de no bonani a anonte de ho na ado ani bekire na wato wo de aba besi wo wonom de na ye papa mai mi age o mato mo hyeta ba bia bibia fa nyina mahodene ho de wudu anonte electric asa ubenya dependable herbal home wonom de nura hodo abadwaman so na yade de ya na hanipa ka nipa dasani ehye tima o hyebere kora sesa enu nti wonom si obi a 3D ha no wadru Adom malakio wo a wonso moja so ate ne wani subiri wo no wo de Adom natural tonic be ma wonso wa ye mrempamu na wontimi nkanya wo ho wo de Adom natural man Mr. ne capsules sanso no ba wa fichi krobe ye boko diamant jahari mu betwa yopo ne nkaboni bi afi ho a Adom lady care capsules ne Mr. dependable herbal home dia baba bi eton no bia no ubenya bi kaso that is international school wo mhwe nimu ho anase Medina New Greenhouse ubeko no ebi wo ho DBS adwumakuo ejabo atene ni nuanom ene odu sprinters a papa ye ho a restaurant ne chance okodi boduru ho no bo se na de de bodan so egu ho e frɛ no alozing trusses egu ho oto a na watu aka na ye de ama eni nuanom duro nyina ye pe ye mfa nua bodan so bi sanse nei ote nom ne zekra de ote no bubunya bi mpaye onyina na omo paye medi nuanom ne konkroma ena ye papa ye se ye de bodan so ahia bebo kapre no nti alozing trusses no de eni nuanom nyina mu duro ye potom so 100 years warranty de ne bedi akire de ama estimate on be yama okwa eno nti fo ni kire wo mo akache na obenya bi ato DBS nchanse papa ene ho aka de omfie ne 21st clinic ya sabia wonom dia bibidro ni mfidi achi ya de friends sciatica no entina eso yesisi mu afa na muro mu akopie ye na ase no wa ho ye betwetwe usara ma ona na sei emutie so dia na akwa yasem kase wontimi sore na ntibium ye friend sciatica eno ena 21st clinic for ye ho adwuma do medwa kesiem bedu ho mo de bibidro ene afidi na chi ade no have you done kase na mu do market ho no mo kuma se ehwe overseas baabi a total filling station no ube hu wonom so ho sabra me kasa idie ene ese wutie me na pa freezer na top chest freezer na table topper mesro furniture Franco Trading Enterprise omo di bi aba omo amabo na ba fom obi a branti afa no asiso ha oda ko ho benya de odi besi udem saa so na TV ho go yi size bi a 33.55 ho no yi ne bo so da fom iPhone na opa na Samsung na Nokia papa fo papa bi a ohia na wo nsem ne wo atufo mani nchiro makachi bi a wonim no okwa obenya bi ato atrakese no e wada braka one Roxy Cinema ne di enhwanimu tuduru ho aboko na waje na jese ne wo de ko adom eye adom moroso Grace sana broni frɛ no na omo na homeopathy kwan so sayare wa hodo yade bia ye bodin no ne jese ye nti din uduru ho a yenya botre hwe ho na etimi hwe yade na wa ya aka no ya fa bi na duro no a obenom no pɛ eno kakra bi po ne de ama wo na jese unam homeopathy kwan so na yade kɔ titi obi a opeba bema untimi nyina se bema wo de ne da fom tim kura no kɔ ombehwe omo madina kachi abo ho na be hu onum high sense eba no ne mapa ebu aba fi asetan ye da wonum nsem ne wo wose men kan cho se ya titi so ya titi so high sense atiti ni nyina so eno nti sa bredi ebu ho na afo ni che high sense na beja bi ato ama aboa wo yanko yanim
ana ye ko asa de ni kire asantimentamu ensura adwura nsensem sori ye ema maburu bi hwere won mu nkom no agina tuko a wosi ho no na wo ye mu ehwehwemu ebisebisa nsem no akwase tere nne ensem no de do so papa na na uku dentemu e na o tere mu na wo de akọ adwura ensem no mu na uku yankwai Metemonka and Timasomo, I was Santimantima Hinklo Kumasa Haishra 104.5 Adom Asampa and Urano Seakan Kasia and was Uso Utena Santimantam has saying when him said Pempa Assembly Hall and a Koya Power so many Shamu and Fa a Durant Tawantawa a Kosonom or more Etnase Abibia and any day Toso and so more Etnasia. Now any day na a traditional council no sub traditional council no and a baya one betu and a mom one would almost Samahudo Pina ever to a Johnny Fahine and a Kasaye. Nananka Samo, then Samina etu a Gaviano, and I was just so Mubusabusano. If it's an anchor someone to draw actually must say, and Mabrune at the kind at the Batu Monument essay, Emra, Yabu Kakanom, na and one and some equal piece on the Quadan Bambofono, and two and a more and time on the Quadan and say, a sue and the Bayer Bambofono at Dana Dinitino. What was you say, and Yadu met me Aya at Juma Pebia, and in Timor Casaviano, and now Jamtani at the Mabajokwe Ebusana Nase was Susan Sanka, and Mabuno, Eddie a Samuel Quadan Bambofono Ekekoma, and Casan Samwayano, Ebabana, Yentimwaya, and Nana Edemaye.
Do you think if the municipal police commander had been proactive in the complaints lodged by the youth regarding the assault on Kaka, it would have degenerated to the level that it got to?
My Lord, knowing Edra as it is and the sort of violence and those things that come in, whether they took immediate action or they delayed, I believe those who did what they did would have done the same thing. It might have contributed to it, but definitely it's not the only reason for that. I'm saying that because if it was only the police, their alleged delay, then in the disturbances, they should have limited it to the police. They wouldn't have extended it to go and destroy other facilities, structures, and those things in town. So I believe, yes, it might have contributed. It might have been one of the causes, but I will not say that that's the only thing that led to it.
Any OTA, Nana, or say, Quadro and Sabia Tosu Emiano, a journey for Henny, and what is answer with the two jam. Well, we know Massa Busan said, Emra, please for police canon, Bassi, a copiamu, a warp, Wamra, and Mabruno, a cra canon. Na esafatana was sisters and Kebianka Kano Ankoha, Sabianka Mabruno and Yesa, and Sunana, Exana, Efasasimi.
In your view, do you think, looking at the conduct of the demonstrators, there was the need for the deployment of the military on that day?
Edra over the years.
Deployment of the water cannon at the cemetery. Don't you think that itself was an act of provocation to the youth?
Act of provocation to some extent, yes. But with what happened on the 28th, I think the police was being proactive, or probably they were trying to preempt any kind of things. Seeing the police over there might have infuriated or the youth at that place, at that point.
Don't you think that if they were even anticipating any further reaction from the youth, it would have been appropriate for them to have kept the water cannon vehicle at the police station instead of going to the cemetery?
With all due respect, my lord, I'm not in the police system, and I wouldn't know whatever intelligence or information they had, and then the way they wanted to operate.
Do you?
Any OTA and Fahine na Ojamtani Jamu SA Ebusani said, was should ye a cosona, na a mabunum, na a safata say, this year to me Emma Soja for Mamma by Ebawana, and also what church Rema, what the professor Ukraine, a drop idea, near this a Soja Foba.
In your view, do you think, looking at the conduct of the demonstrators, there was the need for the deployment of the military on that day?
Over the years, I've experienced a lot of such demonstrations where I was not shooting. I mean, not the way where we had the and invariably, they always had to get the military to intervene and cool down things over there. So I believe getting them in was a good thing. Sadly, it led to casualties, but it was a good thing.
And some of Jamtoni at the committee no and George Kingsley Kumsi what they Obusa Busanana Nana Kokram Obusa Nananso said shall we show my Ghana ma and Pempin Obahan and Tawanto Bisi Papa Penny Mamma may show by the Piamo hobby and Obusa where they and yet a drunk one name Ghana Hanano or ha a year sir and Tawanto be senior Bama Soja for the call and Nancy Bama police for Nakasa to me at Manamon and we yano and what did you just Ukraine one who is say and Kababwa pass a Bama Soja for so Ebeka Ebie. Nana asa the tattoo say a drapa dear Ukraine Sabi a grandpa Yedino, it me Koyama Sambon pet, then swap up down something which is there.
Do you think as a nation there is the need for us to involve the military in situations of riot anywhere in Ghana?
The military the world over has always been on standby in support of civil authority. So whatever His Excellency the President directs, the military is a tool available to government. So if the situation demands or the situation warrants it, that is why they are there. Yes, they have the primary responsibility, they have the primary duty, but in peacetime, they support civil authority. So as and when it becomes necessary, they may have to be used. So in Nigeria, everything, including weddings, engagements, everything, there's some element of politics in it, depending on who is doing it and who is leading it.
Do you think if the municipal police
any OTA Ayanana was say Kojo and Sabioto so emieno wano ayani fahene ewa edra and what is answer when you are to edra. Menoka say another committee in the Jumadie Abaye. Watching a committee in the Batrase El Kukramu na and some about money no my boychire, no one such a movie and dear and yard and some truffle hobby. Nemum a deaf and committee in Basatrase na and some truffle aqua quotia a better jam. Dear we obia shanimo and it's a committee in Babiumu Ejuma. No Mudamunka Taina, Abakoma Ghana Mampani, Nana Adankwa Akufo Ato. Abusha for high show 104.5 Adom Asampa Elmano Sakan Kasiebo Sugusu Utina Santamantem crossover Nana Awuku Dentambo enemy dimema Moso ewa enkan emam ene na ya som yentwa so na afia ni kire be fufure
yeni babia de ni kire voice of the day ene ye baso yentie bi
Money menyina ye wo wadi bi sisa o amane money menyina ye wo wadi bi sisa o awo you know him asentu asenta ye adango siame no swe
ɛno no na yɛ maame no mfansefo ɛte dɛ wɔto nnwom no hyɛna kwa kurom fo dwuma ko anasɛ mea masi kurom abasa we dabi we nya abasa fo nya abasa kasia na si we yɛ gumwan kwantanan anwumre yi yɛyɛ kenkan kasia no maamo no yɛ me obiri yɛboa fɛntɛm frɛmene
bafo redu amo
kwame kulenu ɛne shine nakwa wɔnom ne producer so produce yɛ Aisha ka ho bi afei abrantie sian ɛna gumwan kwantana abrantie Barnabas onya no nkum Yesu ɛna ne nua Edu ohun Bedu ɛna baba wa akua ɔno nso ɛboa bi kama ɛne yɛde ne nyinaa brɛ mu na same ka sɛ de Adom Sports page 2 bra so sɛ yɛde brɛ mu nti yɛba sisi a yɛba montwa yɛma wo nyina mo ɛne tia adehye
Jim FM 106.3